So many of us have had this happen. You're maybe digging through an old box or looking in a book and you find it. A handwritten note.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a letter from your grandma or a birthday card from when you were a kid. Maybe even just a crayon note saying, I love you.
Yeah.
And there's that instant feeling, right? That connection. All the memories just flood back. These things, they aren't just paper. They feel like anchors.
They really are tangible links.
Exactly. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Today we're doing a deep dive into why these handwritten bits, letters, cards, notes, are so important.
Uh-huh.
And maybe more critically, how we can actually preserve them, both the physical paper and, digitally too.
Right.
So our mission here is to pull out the key insights from the material we looked at.
Yeah.
Figure how to safeguard these keepsakes so those stories, those connections, they last for generations.
Absolutely. And that emotional hit you mentioned, holding something someone actually wrote by hand, it's unique. There's a real weight there. And the research we dug into, it really points to this dual thing.
Yeah.
You've got the challenge, but also the opportunity. How do you keep the original thing safe? The paper, the ink stains, all of it.
Right, the physical object.
Exactly. While also using digital tools, to make sure they last longer and maybe more people can see them easily. It's about keeping the essence, but making it last.
So what is it then about these physical pieces of paper and ink? What makes them so, I don't know, potent?
Yeah.
The sources we reviewed really hammer home this idea of emotional weight, the memory anchor thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something like deeper going on? Psychologically, maybe?
Well, yeah, it seems so. What's fascinating is how it works across different kinds of relationships. So for couples, relationship science research suggests that the time and just the thought that goes into writing a letter, it really deepens feelings of being, valued and loved. It builds intimacy in a way a quick text message just doesn't.
Right, you can feel the effort.
Totally. And then think about parents and kids. There were these experiments with gratitude notes.
Oh, yeah.
And they found that both writing and receiving these heartfelt messages actually gives a boost to mood and long-term well-being for both people.
Wow.
It really highlights the developmental power of tangible words between generations, as one source put it.
Tangible words. I like that.
And then there's military families. The National Postal Museum, they see mail as a huge morale boost for service members who are deployed.
I can imagine.
Yeah, holding a letter connects them to home when maybe internet is patchy or non-existent. And volunteer groups say even a short note can really encourage them to continue their mission.
So it's not just sentiment, it's a vital connection.
Exactly, across the board. These aren't just words on paper. They're these vital threads connecting people.
Okay, so understanding that power, that emotional weight, the next big question is practical. How do we stop these things from just, falling apart over time? I mean, lots of us probably have letters stuffed in a shoebox somewhere, maybe in the attic or worse, the basement. What are the big dangers? And what's the archival fix?
You hit on some key problems there. Attics, basements, shoeboxes, not ideal. So, common dangers. Okay, first, acidic envelopes, or just the paper itself, damp environments like basements, and light exposure. They all cause damage.
Okay, so what do we do?
The fix is pretty specific. Store in acid-free folders or mylar sleeves.
Mylar, like those clear plastic sleeves.
Exactly, but they're chemically stable, they won't degrade or harm the paper. And then put those inside buffered boxes.
Buffered.
Yeah, it means the box material has an alkaline reserve to neutralize acids. And crucially, keep these boxes in a cool, dark closet, not an attic or basement. Temperature and humidity swings are bad news.
Got it. Cool, dark closet. Makes sense. What else?
Well, fingerprints. The oils on our hands can damage paper and ink over time. Same with food or drink spills, obviously. So the fix is easy. Wash hands or use nitrile gloves. And create a clear workspace away from food and drinks when you're handling them.
Nitrile gloves. Okay. And the shoe boxes.
Right. Cardboard boxes are no-go. They actually trap moisture and can attract pests like silverfish or beetles.
Yeah.
So the fix is simply upgrade to archival containers instead, those buffered boxes we mentioned.
Okay.
And there was a really good specific tip in the materials. For single sheets, store them flat. If you have letters that are folded, like tri-folded.
Yeah, most old letters are.
Right. Lightly unfold them if you can without forcing it, and put them uncreased in sleeve so ink impressions aren't stressed. You don't want to weaken those fold lines more.
Okay. Don't flatten them aggressively. Just unfold gently.
Exactly. And, if you connect this to the bigger picture, These steps sound maybe a bit fussy, but they're pretty simple, and they can genuinely prevent irreversible damage. It's really the difference between that memory fading away physically and preserving it.
That makes total sense. Physical preservation is step one.
Hmm.
But, okay, we live in the digital age now. What about scanning them? It seems like that offers a whole new way to, make them last forever and maybe share them. What's the best approach there?
Absolutely. The digital side is huge. The philosophy is basically scan once, use forever. Get a good digital copy, and you have so many options.
Okay, so good copy.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Scan quality.
Yeah, exactly. The Library of Congress actually has recommendations. For routine papers like letters, they suggest 300, 400 dpi.
DPI, dots per inch.
Right. It's about the resolution, the level of detail captured. 300, 400 dpi is generally plenty for reading, and even zooming in a bit on the handwriting.
Okay. And what file type should you save it as? Does that matter?
Oh, it definitely matters. The advice is to save two versions. First, a TIFF master file.
TIFF?
Yeah, TIFF. It's a lossless format, meaning it saves all the image data. That's your archival copy, the best quality digital version. But TIFF files are big. So you also save a JPEG or PDF copy from that TIFF. Those are smaller, easier to share, perfect for emailing or putting online.
So TIFF for keeping safe, JPEG or PDF for using.
Precisely. That distinction is key for future-proofing. Now, how to scan. You can use a flatbed scanner, or even mobile apps these days are pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Any recommendations?
Well, TechRadar's 2025 review mentioned Adobe Scan. It's free and has OCR, which is optical character recognition.
Ah, turning the image into text.
Exactly. And they also liked Genius Scan for having good tools to organize your scans.
OCR on handwriting. Does that even work?
Surprisingly well in neat handwriting, yes. Modern OCR is quite powerful. Like Adobe Acrobat's workflow can convert scans to editable, searchable PDFs in seconds. Imagine searching all your grandfather's letters for a specific place name.
Wow, okay, that's a game changer. So scan, save as TIFF and JPEG PDF, maybe use OCR. What about backing up? Losing digital files is easy too.
Crucial point. The rule is back up twice, minimum.
Twice.
Where the recommendation is one copy in cloud storage like Google Drive, Dropbox, whatever, and another on an external hard drive that you keep physically separate.
Okay, cloud and local.
Yes. And here's a really vital bit that people often forget. Migrate files every 5 years or so to new media.
Migrate, like copy them onto a new hard drive.
Exactly. Or check that the cloud service is still current, that the file formats are still readable. Because formats change, memories shouldn't. Technology moves fast. You don't want your precious scans stuck on an old hard drive you can't connect anymore, or in a file format that software no longer supports.
That is such an important point. Digital stuff doesn't last forever unless you actively maintain it.
You got it. It's active preservation. So this raises an important question, though. Once you have digitized them, how do you make these memories, well, really come alive beyond just being a file?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because once they're scanned, they're not just flat images anymore, are they? You mentioned OCR. What else can technology do? How can we experience them in new ways?
Right. Digitization unlocks a lot of accessibility upgrades, let's call them.
Okay.
So one big one is text-to-speech. You use that OCR text we talked about. Tools like Natural Reader or Amazon Polly can transform those PDFs into lifelike audio.
So the computer reads the letter out loud.
Yep. Which is amazing for, say, visually impaired relatives, or really anyone who wants memories read aloud, maybe while they're driving or cooking.
That's brilliant. What else?
Subtitles and translations. Again, using that OCR text, you can feed it into translation services. Imagine allowing non-native speakers to finally appreciate a grandparent's wartime correspondence in their own language.
Wow, that opens up family history across language barriers.
Absolutely. And then you can get even more interactive. Think about creating timelines. There are services. Life Portrait was mentioned.
Life Portrait?
Yeah, where you can upload images, PDFs, and audio tracks. And the cool thing is each format appears side by side. So someone watching can read the text, listen to an audio version, and see the original handwriting all at the same time.
That sounds incredibly rich, like a mini documentary for each letter.
Sort of. It creates a much more multi-sensory connection to that piece of history.
Okay, these accessibility ideas are fantastic.
Sure.
But I can see my hard drive filling up already, files everywhere.
Yeah.
Doesn't this digital archive risk becoming just a new kind of mess? A digital shoebox?
Huh. That digital shoebox. It's a real risk, you're right. Organization is absolutely critical if you want the archive to be usable.
So how do we avoid the digital clutter?
Well, the findings suggest starting with a really clear file naming convention, something consistent. Maybe like.
Yeah.
DD sender recipient brief summary dot TIFF. So, 1944-08-15 dad mom v e-day soon dot TIFF. And then you have your matching PDF or JPEG with the same core name.
Okay, date who it's from, Beto, a little summary. That makes sense.
Yeah, instantly tells you what it is. But naming is just the start. Metadata matters.
Metadata, like the hidden info in the file.
Exactly. Tagging the files. Adding keywords or tags for relationships like mommy or context, maybe boot camp week 3, or even emotions you sense in the letter like homesick, hopeful.
Why bother with that level of detail?
Because it makes searching so much more powerful. And think about the future. It makes AI search and auto-generated slideshows far richer. Imagine asking your computer to show me all the hopeful letters from Dad during the war.
Whoa. Okay, metadata is powerful.
It really is. Adds layers of meaning. And one last thing on organization. Periodic audits.
Audits. Sounds serious.
Nah, just simple checks. Maybe once a year. Just open a random sample of files. Make sure nothing's corrupted. Make sure any links you've made still work. Just a quick health check for your archive.
Right, preventing that digital decay we talked about. Good advice.
Keeps it reliable long term.
Okay, so we've preserved, we've digitized, we've organized. But the point isn't just to hoard this stuff, right? It's about the stories. Keeping them alive, sharing them.
Exactly. That came through really clearly. Preservation is the means, not the end.
So how can we creatively share these now enhanced digital treasures?
Well, the idea is that letters gain new life when woven into multimedia narrative.
Multimedia narratives.
Like
what?
okay, one powerful idea. Pair audio with images. You could, for instance, let a grandparent's voice narrate their own words. Maybe you have an old recording of them. Or use that text-to-speech while the image of the handwritten page scrolls on screen.
Oh, that's lovely. Very moving.
Isn't it? Or you could create anniversary compilations. Maybe bundle significant love letters into a little digital book like a mini ebook, or edit them into a short video montage for a milestone celebration.
Nice. A digital scrapbook almost.
Kind of, yeah. And it can be collaborative too, especially for family history. Think about inviting collaboration. Maybe siblings can annotate childhood notes with their own memories or perspectives.
Oh, that adds layers. So you see the original note, then maybe comments from each sibling about what they remember.
Precisely. It adds layers of family lore, turning a single letter into a richer shared story.
That's fantastic. It really brings it all together. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We really have.
From that, that gut punch of finding an old note to the nitty-gritty of acid-free boxes and the DPI settings, all the way through to digital translations and collaborative annotations. It's quite a journey for a simple letter.
It is.
So what does this all boil down to? I mean, it feels like preserving these messages, it's way more than just looking after old paper, isn't it? It's about, safeguarding connection.
Yeah.
Personal history.
I think that's exactly it. It's safeguarding human connection, personal history, family history. It's about ensuring these unique voices aren't lost.
Yeah.
And maybe, as we finish up, here's a thought for you listening right now. Don't just think about the practical steps, important as they are. Think about the impact your words, written today, might have decades from now. Imagine someone finding a note you wrote and being able to bring it to life using these kinds of methods, hearing it read, seeing it alongside photos, understanding the context. Knowing that, what message would you want to leave? What story would you want to tell right now?
That's a powerful thought. Makes you think about what we write and how we share it.
It does. And maybe the biggest takeaway is simply don't wait. If you have treasured messages, letters, cards, take one small step today. Maybe just scan one favorite letter. Just start. Because these stories deserve to live on.